Today I'm going to help you to improve your setup, give you some drills to work on and help you hit the ball better off the tee. So, as you all know, driving the ball is key to playing well. So I'm going to go over some fundamental things you should be looking at in your own technique and setup to help bring about the outcome that you want, which is obviously hitting the fairway and hitting it long and straight. So I'm going to go through a couple of drills that I use myself when I practice, but also talk about some of the key things that I see my pupils kind of get a little bit wrong sometimes. So to start with, you can see we've got some alignment sticks set up. Now, the reason I've done that is to help with obviously target line and also ball position. So you can probably see that better from the face on position that we're in here. So with a driver, we would like the ball position to be just on the inside of that left heel. So you'll see my left heel just touching that alignment stick and nice wide stance, and you'll see that that left toe is turned out nicely. Now, why do I do that? It's to help me turn properly as I hit through the shot. That left foot opening up helps my hips to open through the ball better and helps me turn through it more effectively when I'm hitting a driver. So as you can see, we're setting up with that off the front foot. You can see my hands are nice and forward, shaft nice and straight in line with that alignment stick. And what I'm going to do is try and make sure that when I hit this shot, I turn through it properly, get onto my front foot in a nice balanced position. So ball position can affect your drives quite significantly. So the more we move ball back, and I see this a lot with people who hit the ball really high, they think if I move it back in my stance, I'll hit it lower. It can actually make it worse because it's going to steepen the way you hit into the ball, which is going to move the strike more towards the top of the face and hit it higher. Similarly, if you hit the ball, or move the ball, forward in the stance, you can get it even more on the way up. You can hit it with even more loft because people generally fall behind it, use their hands and increase loft on the club face as well, which will lead to inconsistent shots and generally very high ones that don't go very far. So in the setup, we're trying to encourage everything to be nice and neutral, but also help you to get through the shot properly. So we've got that ball inside of my left heel, nice wide stance there, so shoulder width with it, and I'm going to take the club back and turn all the way through. Really good strike there. You can see all of my weight finishes on my front foot. I sweep the ball off the tee nicely and get the flight that I'm looking for. So I would always encourage people to put something down to help you with ball position, but also with your alignment. So if you do this on the range when you're playing and practicing, then it'll start to become a habit when you get to the golf course. And I see so many people when they get to practicing that don't actually help themselves when they're going to play golf. So you just go to the range, you get a basket of balls and you just hit loads of drivers or loads of 7-irons or whatever. But we really want to make sure that you get the ball in the right position every time, and only by doing this over and over again are you going to do that. So we've seen the ball position from face on. You can also see from the down the line camera here that we've got that target line there is also very, very apparent. So when we're actually setting up, I've got my feet parallel to that. I use that for my ball position, and I know when I swing down that line nice and parallel that I'm going to get the ball starting where I want it to and get my weight shifting through to the target. So that's a really, really simple way of improving your driver setup and technique. So strike with the driver is obviously a very important part of your golf game, and getting off the tee really sets the tone for a good game of golf. So a lot of the pupils I teach struggle with strike when it comes to driver, and there's a few reasons why, of which I'm going to touch on a couple right now. I always get asked, how high should I tee the ball when I'm hitting a driver, okay? So there is no right and wrong height. It would really come down to your technique. So I'm going to show you a way to try and help you find the best height for you to tee your driver, And the way I've done that is I've put some tape on the face of my driver here. So if you haven't got tape, you can use the foot spray that you can get there, which will obviously coat the face, but it really just shows where that strike is on the club face when you're hitting the ball. So it will give us some feedback as to, once you've hit sort of 5 or 6 shots, you'll see a little bit of a pattern on the face. You might not, it might be a little bit all over the place, and we'll go into that in a second, but generally we'll find that with your technique, there'll be a place on the club face you're going to hit the ball more often, okay? So we can see if it's really high out the club face, potentially teeing the ball low is going to help. If it's really low, maybe we're hitting it too much on the way up, so maybe getting it a bit higher might help to move that strike more towards the middle of the club face. So I'm going to hit a shot for you now, and we're going to take a bit of a look at where I've struck it, okay? So just normal driver setup off your front foot there, and we're just going to hit one and see where we strike it. Okay, pretty good hit, but we can see on the face it's a little bit just towards the toe there, but it's passable. All right, we'll take it. It was a good shot. It's gone down the range nice and straight, and we're pretty happy with it. But more than anything, it's towards the center of the club face in terms of it's not low and it's not high, right? So we're kind of in the middle there. So we know we're hitting pretty close to the sweet spot of the driver. So now I've hit one off a tee that I'm comfortable with. I'm just going to tee it down a little bit just to see where that strike moves to. So I've moved it about 1/2 inch down. I've put a fresh piece of tape on the face, and let's hit a drive and let's see how that affects the strike, okay? The strike was good, the ball flight was decent, a little bit lower than I would expect, but we can see there that the strike has shifted down on the club face, yeah? So it's more towards the bottom of the golf club. Now, with club faces having, we call roll and bulge on the face, so basically when I hit it towards the bottom of the club, it means that, I mean, I've got an 8.5 degree driver here, but if I hit it towards the bottom of the club, that loft could be down to sort of 7.5, maybe even 7 degrees if I catch it low out the face, which is why we see the flight goes that little bit lower, which could be okay if you're playing in the wind, and that might be something you can employ, just teeing that ball down a little bit and help you. But if we're searching for the center of the club face, I know now that yes, I've hit it fairly central in terms of between the heel and the toe. I've hit it in the middle of the face, but it's lower than I would normally expect it to be. So that shot there has gone significantly shorter than the one that hit out the middle of the face, but a slightly flatter flight. So if that's what you're after, that could be good in windy conditions. But I'm just going to tee one up again a bit higher and see if that strike moves now more towards the top of the club face, right? So this is higher than I would normally tee it, so we can see it's considerably higher than the top of the golf club. Let's hope I don't sky it. So the flight much higher, and we can see there it's really getting towards the crown of the golf club there as well. So still in the center in terms of between heel and toe, so it's still in there, but it's moved about 1/2 inch higher on the club face. So, and we could see that with the ball flight, it's much higher. It's probably stalled a little bit in the wind here as well. But that's telling me that I can actually see a little imprint of the tee on there as well. So that's telling me that I've teed that ball too high. All right, now downwind I may get away with that, but certainly on a day when there's a bit of breeze out there, that ball is just going to go nowhere. So I would really recommend playing around with the tee height when you practice to find where you can strike the middle of the club face a little bit more often. We are here on the first tee of the Faldo course at Amendoeira in the Algarve, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about different ways of thinking about your tee shots. So when I say a different way of thinking about your tee shots, I mean I've got a driver in my hand here, and generally if you put a driver in someone's hand, they're going to stand up there, hit it pretty much as hard as they can and smash it all over the place. Now I'm talking about when you're stood on tee with a driver, maybe hitting a shot or having a stock shot with a driver that isn't necessarily full out, that might give you a better chance of hitting the fairway. So this hole, for instance, pinches in at about the distance I'm going to hit driver. So around the 290 to 300 yard mark, this course starts to get tight from this tee. The fairway is massive, shorter than that, but it's got quite a big rise to go up and it's into the breeze a little bit, okay? So if I hit my 3-wood, it's going to go quite a high flight, probably not make the carry onto the top part of the fairway there, and I'm going to be left way back there. Now, a shot that I work on and a shot that I use particularly in situations when I have to hit a fairway, or you know, maybe it's a pressure situation, you know, you're in a match with your friends and you're going to lose a fiver. Well, I'd have a stock shot that you can hit down a fairway that is going to get some run on it, because if we hit a driver softer, it's going to tend to go flatter, get a bit more run, and probably go past where I would hit my 3-wood on this hole. So I tend to hit a draw with a driver generally, so I'm going to hit a normal driver shot now. But my sort of stock shot that I use is a little fade, so I would aim down the left-hand side, leave the face open a little bit, and know I'm going to fade it. We all know a shot that we can hit fairly easily, whether it's a fade or a draw, but something that we can hit a little bit softer, give it more chance to be in play, and hopefully take that fiver off our friends. So let me play a normal driver shot. So I'm just going to hit one, hopefully down the middle of the fairway here. But as I've said, the fairway pinches in a bit. It's a tough driving hole. So that was a pretty good one. Let's tee another one up and just change the technique slightly. Now the first one, yeah, I've hit a good drive. It's in the fairway, but it's in that really narrow bit that's about 35 yards wide at the top there. But I really want to hit it 20 yards shorter than that into the bit of fairway that's 100 yards wide, okay? And how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to change my technique slightly. So I've said about hitting it a bit smoother and softer. What I'm actually doing is doing a bit of a 3/4 swing with the driver. So I'm taking some speed off by limiting backswing and limiting through swing. So in doing that, reducing club head speed is going to make this come out slightly flatter, run a little bit more, but land shorter. So it's going to probably land on the bottom of the fairway and run up to that bit on the crest of the hill there. So like I say, I'd set up just down the left side, club face slightly open, and just 3/4 swing, nice and smooth. So I've probably lost 20 yards on the first shot that I've hit. It's landed on the flat part of the top of the fairway there, but it's landed on the widest bit. The fairway where I've just hit it is about 100 yards wide, whereas where I hit my first drive is about 35 yards wide. So the chances of me hitting the fairway with that slightly softer flight, a little bit more of a fade, are greatly increased. And it's certainly a shot I think you should try. Get that stock shot off the tee, and hopefully it'll give you some more confidence.